As many of you may have heard, our boss here at Manti Tel, Dallas Cox, along with his family, had a close call with carbon monoxide poisoning. We thought we would make a video with them telling their story in hopes that you could avoid the near tragedy that they almost had.
Well, it started about 4:30 in the morning. Our son got up and was vomiting, and he'd been sick, and I thought, oh, he's just not feeling well, and I could hear him, hit the floor, and he'd passed out. And so we got him up, took him to the couch, just had him lie down. When I woke up, I had this horrible headache, and I thought, oh, that's just terrible, and I took some medicine and went back to bed.
I was getting ready for school, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I'm on the floor. That's weird. And so then I went downstairs, and I was just like crying, and then I laid by my mom because I wasn't feeling good at all.
And she just didn't know what had happened, and we figured out that she'd passed out upstairs. And then next thing I know, Dallas is passed out on the floor. I hear him hit the floor, and I thought he was just teasing the kids for passing out. And he was really out. And I said, Dallas. And he said, whoa, I didn't realize I was on the floor. And his heart was racing, and he was sweating. And I thought, this is the weirdest sickness I've ever seen, that we're all passing out. And I just started feeling really sick. And so next thing, I hear my littlest boy downstairs. He's trying to get up, and he was just moaning. And, Indiana told me, I think I hear Garrett moaning. And so I went to check on him, and he had kind of thrown up. And I thought, oh, I'll change his sheets. I'll get him, comfortable. And I just told him, you just go to sleep. It's fine. I thought, we've all got this horrible flu. I knew it was going around, and thought, oh, but I was so lightheaded, and I was having a really hard time. I just kind of lie by him, and I was trying to change his sheets, and just getting up the stairs was difficult. And so I got back upstairs, and I think I must have just gone back to bed. And then after a little bit, then Dallas's brother, because we'd called all the schools and called his work. He'd called his brother to tell him that we were sick, and it was just really strange, and we've all got these weird symptoms. And so after just a little bit, his brother called him and said, I wonder if you've got carbon monoxide poisoning. And so...
And we didn't believe him.
We thought,
we had three sensors
monitors
in the house, one downstairs, one upstairs, one in the middle. None of them had gone off, so we knew it wasn't carbon monoxide. We just had a flu bug.
Yeah,
and we were going to hunker down and go to bed and wait it out.
Yeah, I just thought, well, why would we have that? What kind of problems would we have? Our house isn't that old. You just don't really think about that happening to you. And so he started opening the windows and thought, you know what, we may as well just leave the house in case, and it's better to be safe than sorry. And I remember just trying to get everyone going, and I couldn't believe that Dallas could even move. I couldn't believe he was moving everyone. And our littlest boy, he had to carry upstairs. And it was just amazing. I felt dizzy and confused and just so weak. I felt like it was all I could do to get out of the house. But I could tell as soon as he opened the windows that I felt better, and it was feeling a lot better.
So once we got out of the house, we headed to my mother's house for a place to stay. And on our way, we contacted an employee of the gas company. And he gave us a phone number where we needed to call so they could come down and look at the house, see if there was a gas leak or a CO problem. And when we got to my mother's house, she wasn't there, but we got a hold of her, and she came down and alerted the hospital that we might have a problem. And so we started going that direction.
And all this time, I couldn't believe that Dallas was even alert enough to drive and to be talking on the phone to people. I felt so miserable and so uncomfortable. I never want to feel that way again, and just felt so out of control. Like I thought, I can't even function for myself. I can't even help my children. I can see, why you would just want to lie down and go to sleep in that situation, because you just feel miserable. So as his mom came and took us to the hospital, and we, were in the car, thank goodness I'd gotten some buckets that we could all be throwing up in, and it just felt miserable. And we got there and got on oxygen, and then they were told by another doctor that we should go to Utah Valley to the hyperbaric chamber for an oxygen treatment, which I'd never heard of before. And my oldest son was the most critical, and that's the one they weren't sure if it would just be him, but they decided to take all of us.
Well, when we were at the doctor's office, they told us they took your
Normal is 1
blood.
to
They
3.
drew our blood, and they measured the CO that's in your blood, and a normal level is between 1 and 3. I don't know if that's percentage or what that is.
Are we recording this?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
So it's
should
between
we go
1 and
back?
3. No, we're fine. It's between 1 and 3 is the norm. They said a smoker can get as high as maybe an 8. And for some reason, the insurance companies have a magic number of 10. Anything above that's a problem. Anything below that's usually okay. So when they took our measurements, our oldest boy was a 25.5. Carrie Lynn was a 20. I was a 19, or Indiana was a 19. I was an 18. And then our youngest, by the time they got his blood drawn and had him on an oxygen mask for a while, he was down at about a 4. So anything above a 25, they have to call a respiratory therapist and get his opinion. So they contacted the respiratory therapist at Utah Valley Hospital, and he said, get the whole family, get them in an ambulance, get them on oxygen, and get them up here so we can take a look at them.
So we rode the ambulance up there, and it was great to have the oxygen all the way up there. So it makes you feel so much better. And then we got a great education on the hyperbaric chamber and carbon monoxide poisoning. Learned a lot of great things. We learned that your monitors expire after 5 to 7 years, depending on the monitor. I didn't realize that. I always thought if you kept fresh batteries in them that you'd be fine. You just think that you're prepared for these things. But we learned a lot, and we were able to get the therapy and felt a lot better. And it took us some time to feel completely rested and well, and I'm sure we'll still be recovering a little bit, but we know that it's helped to prevent a lot of other problems that could have happened.
So the myths and the truths of carbon monoxide, for what we know. Carbon monoxide is not a heavy gas. It's not like chlorine. It doesn't sit on the floor and then fill the house up slowly. It's light like air, so it can fill your house in a hurry, and it just fills your house based on where it chooses to go. It passes through sheetrock and insulation, brick, concrete. The gas company, they were really great. They came to our house and checked things over and looked for the leak, tried to repair and correct the problem before we got back. They told one of our guys that was here that it could be 20 minutes to take a house from a safe level to a toxic level in a house our size, which isn't too large, but 20 minutes from safe to dangerous. We learned that, like Carrie Lynn said, the detectors do expire. We have 3 detectors in our home, all 12 years or older. None of them worked. So they do have a shelf life, typically from 5 to 7 years. There might be some longer than that, but read the labels. We learned that 50,000 people a year die from poisoning, and 25,000 of those are carbon monoxide poisoning. And most of those happen due to people starting their cars in their garage. Even though they open the garage door, the gas doesn't always leave. And just because you have a catalytic converter on your car, the 3 minutes it takes to fire the catalytic converter up will put enough carbon monoxide out to poison the family. What else did we learn? We learned it's really small, and that it gets out of your blood and it gets into your body. It gets into your muscles and your nerves and your joints. And the reason they put us in a hyperbaric chamber was to compress the oxygen down small enough that it could get out of our blood and into those areas where the CO hides to knock it out. We learned that carbon monoxide has a half-life of about 500 minutes. So it takes over 500 minutes for your body to start to expel the carbon monoxide. And the doctor told us to think of holding your breath for 500 minutes and see if you could do that. So your body starts to suffocate because it can't get oxygen to it. It's just glommed onto carbon monoxide as a problem.
Yeah. And also when everyone that we had here checking things out, there wasn't really a problem that they could completely identify. So it wasn't that there was an appliance that we had that was completely faulty. There were a few little things that they found that they fixed and switched. And so even if you don't have something that's really old or really malfunctioning, it can happen. And it just was not something that we thought would happen to us. And understanding the symptoms, for one, is really great. Having a monitor is really good, because even if you get these lower levels, you can get out of the house while you're still able to think and function. But knowing the symptoms too really helps, and it's just really important to get out soon, because you don't feel good and it's really hard to function, and it's hard to get yourself out if you're not aware of what's going on.
So for symptoms for us, and you can look up other ones online, but it was really tired, it was no energy, it was headaches, stomach aches,
Confusion,
dizziness, vomiting, ringing of the ears.
You said passing out?
Passing out or collapsing.
When your whole family's passing
When your whole, yeah.
good indication.
Yeah.
Yeah, when your whole family gets the flu bug all at the same time and you pass
Suddenly.
out, it's probably not the flu bug. So carbon monoxide, as you've heard, has no smell or taste.
And you can't see it anywhere, so you can't tell. I know when he started opening windows, you could feel the difference of having the air. But it's just can happen so quickly and feels horrible.
The recommended things to do would be have carbon monoxide detectors, make sure they're not expired. The gas company's comment was you get what you pay for. Inexpensive carbon monoxide testers can help you, but they don't alert as quickly or as well. They don't last as long. So good carbon monoxide testers, have your heaters, your furnaces, your appliances checked out annually to make sure they're behaving like they should. If you
don't
think
have any
that,
blocks on any chimneys
or
or
check your venting
anything like
and the
that.
drafts.
If you're going to start your car,
Pull it out of the garage.
yeah, pull it out a little bit, because even with the cold and the pressure, it can keep that carbon monoxide in the garage, even if you've opened the door. Being careful that there's nothing blocking your exhaust on your car if it's outside, like snow or anything in the way, because then it can put it back into your car as well.
And if you think you have a problem, open windows, get out of the house, call the gas company and the fire department. So they can come down and check it over. They have meters that they can take measurements and make sure the house is safe and that things are clear. We had a great response from the fire department. The gas company's been very concerned. They sent many people over to check our house out, make sure that things were safe before we got in it. We had a really good hospital staff that took care of us. They told us to treat it like a brain injury. Be a little careful for a while and don't sign any legal documents for a week or so.
One more thing before we go. Here at Manti Tel, we actually sell a home automation system called Pharos. With that home automation system, there's actually a smart carbon monoxide monitor or alarm, which means that you can control it from your phone. Also, if it goes off in your house, it can text people or call people, letting them know that carbon monoxide has been detected in your house. The safety in that is that your friends or family can give you a call to check to make sure that you're doing okay. If there's no response, hopefully the next step would be for them to come by your house and see if you're doing okay. And if you're not, hopefully they could get in there and potentially save your life. We don't want to turn this into a sales pitch. It's just more to let you know of the products that are available out there. If you would like to know more, give us a call at 835-2929 or just come into our office and we'll let you know more. Hopefully you understand more about carbon monoxide and hopefully you can keep yourself safe.